Hello and welcome to Kings Peak High School and 10th grade English Language Arts. And I will be your teacher, Mr. C. D. Varn, or Christopher Varn, um, or Derek Varn. I have a bunch of names, but to you I'm Mr. Varn, right? So I'm going to get out of the way, at least with my giant picture of my giant face and my books in the background, and let you know a little bit about me. All right, our objectives today. Who am I? What is my philosophy of education? And you know why you should care, right? Because I'm the person who decides your grade, and I'm the person who designed this course. Not the only person who designed this course, admittedly, but I am the main one. And what is the philosophy of this class? All right, well, now you get double of me and my cat. Hi, I'm Mr. Varn. I've taught English as well as social studies, composition, humanities, ethics, film, and creative writing for 14 years at the secondary level. Secondary is high school and middle school. I'm originally from Georgia and taught public school there, as well as community college. However, I've been a professor at a university in South Korea where I taught teachers. I've taught international baccalaureate and advanced placement programs in Korea, Mexico, Egypt, and AP. I've done it here, in addition to teaching here in Utah for the last 5 years. I'm a published author. There's books by me. And I've worked in publishing as a second job for 15 years, as well as both a poet and an editor. So I've been a poet, that's what I primarily work in, and I'm an editor of other people's work, both poetry and nonfiction. Places where I've traveled and taught. You can see this is in South Korea, outside of Yongin-shi, which is a place that I lived for several years. And you can see over here, this is in Mexico. You see the Mexican flag there. I think that is in Mexico City. And this is Giza, as in the Great Pyramids of. And I taught in Cairo for 2 years. I speak a bunch of languages. I speak Deutsch. I speak Hankugo, which is Korean. Dutch is German. I speak a little bit of Espanol. I more read it, actually. I don't speak Arabic. I know like 5 or 6 words. Some other things. While I've been a teacher for 14 years, I was a professor for a while too, so overall I've taught for 17 years. I want you to know that I understand that I will probably have empathy with your struggles. One, I, despite having multiple degrees, I have MFA in poetry and a master's in education and 2 BAs. It's a lot of education, right? It's 8 years after school, after high school, guys. I am dyslexic and aphasic. I have a learning disability. This didn't stop me from getting my master's degrees in writing, from teaching university, from traveling the world, but I need help and I needed help. All right? I still have trouble proofreading. You'll see mistakes in some things all the time, even though I'm an editor. I can see it in other people's work, but not my own, and I know that about you too. All right? It's actually a super common problem. I am an avid reader as well, but I wasn't until I was in college. It was not easy for me to read. When I was in college, I finally figured out some tricks to make reading comprehension and speed a lot easier. So I went from being a very slow reader to a very fast reader. But it took a long time, a lot of trial and error, and some teachers giving me some note-taking abilities and some mnemonic abilities to help me really retain that. So I know you need that kind of thing. Despite having taught for a long time, I have had a career before I was a teacher or a professor. Yes, I had jobs before that. I've been a Papa John's manager. I've been a prison guard. I've worked at an insurance company. I'm older than I look, even here with the magic of digital. I want you to realize that I know that most of you aren't going to be English majors. Most of you aren't going to be teachers. And your love of literature needs to help what you want to do. It doesn't need to be based off what I wanted to do. Now, I love literature and I want to bring that love to you, but I realize that you're not going to be me. And that's absolutely okay. So, Everything I teach you that implies that love of literature needs to be also paired with practical realities. Right? Right. Shout out to the old people who graduated high school without Google. This meme is also old. You know I'm old because I'm using an old meme. Right. My educational philosophy, or why Genghis Khan is one of my idols. This class works a lot like an army, even online. It must be disciplined and worked as a team. You're going to give each other feedback. Make sure you can see me here. You're going to give each other feedback. You're going to work together. And to do that, you have to be respectful. You have to cooperate. You have to share emails, and you have to log in regularly. We also have synchronous chats. While they're not mandatory, they're highly suggested, and we do count them into your attendance grade. So I would check that out. Now, I'm your leader. I'm going to guide you with your battle with language, but I know each of you have a different battle. You have different things you need to know. You become better speakers, thinkers, and writers by the end of the course, but you need to follow my instructions. But I realize that my instructions need to be personalized to you, and we need to have a dialogue with one another to make that happen. As your leader, I know you're not robots. You have agency. You have to be convinced of something's value. I've gotten over and over again in my college teaching career, and my high school teaching career, Mr. Varn, but they never taught us how to do taxes or change our oil. Well, we probably didn't teach you how to change your oil. Should probably go ask the shop mechanic about that. But we actually do teach you the information you need to do your taxes. We just never really showed you that we did. Tax law changes every year. You just have to download forms and read how to do the forms. That's how you do your taxes. If it's more complicated than that, you need a program. You need to read and do research to find out how to best program. Reading and research are things we teach you. If we taught you specifically how to do taxes now and it changed next year, we'd be misteaching you. But we don't point that out to you. So we're still not doing as good enough of a job as we need to do to show you how what we're teaching you is relevant to your life. And if a teacher doesn't do that, they're not helping you. And kind of expecting you to figure it out on your own, right? Now, why Genghis Khan? Is it because I'm mean? I'm not particularly mean. I have a mean sense of humor sometimes, but since you're not dealing with me in a classroom, you probably won't see it as much. Genghis Khan led the Mongols, and the Mongols were a poor people who were a bunch of tribes, and they were free. They were not conquered by civilization. They had to be convinced to follow Genghis Khan, and Genghis Khan helped them conquer the world. You have a choice over how you follow my instructions, and you have to learn to best apply the lessons for the role you choose for yourself. I can't choose it for you. I'm not living your life. You are. You know more about you than I possibly ever can, even when you tell me things about you, and you're going to tell me things about you. So, this is why. These proud free people, which Genghis Khan led, were a bunch of steppe tribes who were often so poor that they made their coats out of the pelts of mice, according to the Mongol secret history. And Genghis Khan convinced them to follow him and train them into the most fearsome fighting force the world has ever seen. Now, I don't need you to fight wars on horseback with arrows and spears. That's a little archaic and violent, and I would prefer we didn't go there. But I do need you to succeed. I want you to succeed. It's my job to help you succeed. If I am your leader, your success is how we judge my leadership. You need to understand that. That does mean you need to listen. Doesn't mean you have to do it the way I do it. It doesn't mean you have to do it the way I tell you. If you think of a better way, you can show it to me. That's how we innovate. My second, though, let me get mine out of the way because you can see, idol is actually Mr. Rogers, like the opposite of Genghis Khan. So why is Mr. Rogers my other idol? Well, it's actually kind of a long story. Before I was a professor, before I was a teacher, and I was actually a professor before I was a teacher. I was an adjunct professor, and then a community college professor. Um, before, yeah, my mother was a prison nurse, and she got me a job where I worked for about 9 months as a prison guard. Wasn't great work. Wasn't the worst work I've ever had either. Um, most of my interactions with prisoners, most of them wanted the opportunities they had lost, particularly to be educated. But to get that, to show that, what they really wanted was respect. You had to show them respect. If you showed them respect, they treated you fine. Prisoners treated me very great because I treated them like a human being. And that's also what you want, right? You're not a prisoner. And I don't want you to be a prisoner. I want you to show the respect you need and give you the opportunity to succeed so that never happens to you. That you don't make the mistakes that will lead you there. All right? I want you to feel respected, and I want you to know that you're cared about. That you're always going to be one of my beautiful students, even if you're a pain in the butt that day. You're still a person. And that still matters even while we're online. Some other things you need to know. We are a competency-based program, and this class is aimed at helping you transfer skills. Remember what I talked about? We can teach you how to do taxes, but it's better to teach you how to read about taxes so you can learn how they change every year, right? I want you to develop your own interests. You're not me. You're 10th grade. Your interests are developing on your own. Your neurons are firing like crazy, and you're actually putting the inputs in now. It's going to decide what you really value as an adult. A lot of the other stuff about you actually is probably already set. But you are still developing your interests and capacities, and what you do during your teen years solidifies those pathways in your brain. And so the last thing I want you to do is to teach you how to apply English to areas of your life that you don't think about applying it to. How is research really important? How is English going to help you fix your car? Because listening and speaking is really important. You got to listen well to watch YouTube to get that engine video to do whatever you need to do. With YouTube, and if you're an active listener and you're an active reader, you can learn almost anything you want pretty close to for free. Can't get certified in it, might still need formal education to do it for a living, but if you just got to change your own oil, if you know how to listen and you know how to read, you can do it. Probably. You might need to work in your manual dexterity too, but you can get there. We're going to learn literature together, beginning with a novel of your choice. I'm not picking your first major reading for you. You are. All right, you don't have to go out and buy one either. Your library is your friend, both online and in person. Because you need to be invested in reading that novel. I can walk you through a novel, and I've read a lot of them, but I can't really help you in a novel you really hate. Now, I am going to have you read stuff that you don't pick so that you will expand your horizon, right? You don't know what you don't know. But in the beginning, we're going to start with what you want, because that's going to help you be invested in learning how to get the most out of it. And we're going to interpret informational text because you need to know how to read stuff to do stuff, right? You need information for your life. And I'm going to show you ways to analyze those texts, or I think I have a typo there. I said analysis. Analyze those texts that works for multiple genres. Genres are just types of writing that you may encounter. That's important because you encounter a bunch of different readings in your life, and a lot of it isn't literature in the way we think about literature. It's not short stories or whatever. All right? So that's what we're going to be working on in the immediate future. We're going to read all kinds of stuff this year, and I hope you enjoy it. But remember, you have to take responsibility and agency over your own education, because you are the person who knows what you're getting educated for. Sure, the answer may be, I'm getting educated because the state's making me. All right. Also, be cool when you respond to this video and you do your own little version of it. Find the typos in the thing and add it to the bottom just to impress me that you caught them all. All right. Have a good day, and I'm looking forward to teaching you.